should keep doing damage through Pulverize when you're moving
you
up
are
and
moving through the Z-axis, right? You are still going
Right.
up and down through the Z-axis.
down.
It still bugs out. At the very least, you don't have the... For one, your schedule is eccentric. Number two, I can't even schedule a podcast with you. You're expecting me to schedule a game with you.
Right.
You know?
What's number 3?
Number 3, it's Mike LaPhoenix. You guys would know when you queue into him. You would completely understand. Trust me.
Yeah, I'm a nice guy, John. I'm very
You
pure.
are a nice guy. You are a nice guy. I just don't like laning with you, Mike. I've got some core memories out there about our lanes. I remember you crying about the gyrocopter, and I'm there as a support. I'm like, what the hell am I supposed to do to help you? Just crying all the damn time. I just feel awful. And you know, it's just like, all right.
Sad thing is, this is not a joke anymore. This literally happened.
Not even a bit. It's not even a bit. Oh.
I'm
Those
sorry
were
about
fun
that,
games,
John.
Mike. It's all right. I understand.
know what it was?
Dota 2 makes us monsters.
I'll tell you what it is, John. You weren't harassing. That's what pissed me off.
I was harassing. You were crying
You
about
were.
your CS disappearing.
You
I was
had full
earth
mana.
spiking and right clicking.
You had full
That's the
mana by
line.
2 minutes.
Because you were also crying about me not pulling. Which is it? I'm one hero, Mike. I can't harass and pull at the same time. You know? The camps were a bit further back then, too.
All right.
Mike
I'll give it to
Phoenix.
you. I'm a hard man
Mike
to please.
Phoenix. You
I'm a
really
hard
are.
man. Anyway, Team Spirit. They're fighting over the bottom boundary. There's double vision around this area, so Quest might still go for the fight. Collapse gonna zone them out. Doesn't seem like they're gonna be able to make it, so there's gonna be a 2-for-2 trade on the bounties anyway. And while we're around, we may as well start with the bottom lane. Of course, you're gonna have TA2000 and Kaori against Mirror and Collapse. What are you thinking about this lane? Like, should it just be an auto win because you have an Ench? In fact, I just realized as well, John, Mirror's playing the Shadow Demon, so you don't have that Bloodseeker Shadow Demon laning stage that I was expecting. But go on, the bottom lane, what do you think?
I think this is still pretty solid. You've still got the spear set up with Disruption, which is pretty solid as well. This should feel pretty decent for Kaori and TA2000. You have to watch the level 2, level 3 spikes. Kaori going for the early impetus is pretty nice up against Mars, to be fair. But the damage output just isn't as buttery smooth as before. Mind you, you might not get too much value from the healing and enchant, as Shadow Demon doesn't really care. Shadow Poison tends to win out trades anyway, down the line. TA2000 shouldn't be contested too hard. Lane control is really important. You want this to be in a position where the Mars can't just look for free spear angles with a disruption. So they've got to be pretty disciplined in clearing out and denying here, managing their lane, but they're doing a pretty good job on that already for Quest early on. So no early issues here in the first few levels.
No, certainly not. But that mid lane. Lal and Noob going at it here in the mid lane, the Quap vs Primal Beast matchup. Now, it seems like it should somewhat favor the Primal Beast in terms of CS, but Lal obviously going to have the big advantage when it comes to harass. Lal trying to press that advantage right now. Noob not too threatened by it, but he does only have one Tango left to be absolutely fair. He's just fine for now as bottom lane. There was a little bit of action, but nothing to write home about. Perhaps we'll look at that top lane, John. Yatoro and Maposhka against Malik and Omar. Looks like a pretty standard kind of tied Rubik lane. Probably not going to die. Probably going to be the ones trying to be aggressive. But now Omar going a little bit too far. Going to cop a Blood Right and a Last Word, but is going to be just fine.
You know what's funny about this lane? I have one friend that I always lane with, and he always tells me to go for these kinds of heroes. He loves playing Soundser plus Bloodseeker. Let me tell you, just spamming out Blood Right plus the Arcane Curse is pretty annoying. Omar's already forced to salve up. Yatoro should have a stable lane. Again, you're up against a Rubik Tide. Anchor Smash plus Fade Bolt can be annoying, but not necessarily enough to really stop Yatoro from controlling the lane. Although you have to watch yourself here.
Yeah, Maposhka, he's going to cop it real bad. First Blood's going to go the way of Omar, and that's the kind of combo you got to worry about. Like, just the lift back into the gush is more than enough to kill a silencer like that. As bottom lane, a bit of a dive. Kaori in trouble. We'll go down to Mirror. Shadow Poison Snack's getting the job done. Bit of a trade across the map, though, certainly in favor of Quest. They do secure First Blood on their end of things.
And that's a nice start to come out for Malik. You have to be concerned about how fast the Tide finds his Vanguard timing, or even just a Meteor Hammer is going to feel pretty good here with regen on hand. The combination of Blood Right plus Arcane Curse is nice, but you're not really going to be looking at the Tide for that. There's a value point in Kraken, and just his natural durability means that it's not really going to be enough to scare him away. So you're really mainly trading with a Rubik, but it's also not something Omar minds too much, still has one Tango, can always ferry out more regen, and he is doing a decent enough job of just wasting the mana on both these heroes from Team Spirit. Like, Yatoro only really has, what, one spell cast left with a Healing Lotus available, which he'd want to save for the HP. Does have some good magic wand charges, but it's now pretty controllable for Tide approaching level 3 here.
Certainly is. Apologies about that, Jonathan. My just have to buck for absolutely no reason. As mid lane, Lyle's going to get charged through the onslaught, but he's going to be just fine. Get the living bejesus out of me just then. Goodness.
I didn't actually hear it. I wish I heard it if it scared you.
Top lane, Noob's having a bit of a rotation with a full creep wave. They do clip up the wave though to make... Oh, he gets stunned. He got stunned by the Overbruiser. He's okay. They glyph the wave. Oh, he's still going to get stunned? No, he gets the creep. He got stunned once though. In fact, Lyle's going to jump in and try to capitalize off this. He's okay. He'll TP back to the tier 1 mid.
Yeah, maybe a bit of a greedier play going behind the enemy lines to try to clear out the wave, but forcing out the early fortify is nice. He is under now. And that's giving a little bit of a boon here for Yatoro to manage up top. And we'll have to walk back to the base and back to lane. Not the best feeling in the world for the mid. Lots of value for Team Spirit with a fortify there.
Certainly is. 1-1. Pretty quiet game thus far during this laning stage. The side lanes planning a kill each, but yeah, nothing to write home about. CS-wise, though, somewhat in the lead. Like, Lyle's had a very good laning stage on the Quap. Has a free Noob just maintain his position. In fact, Lyle's almost 2 levels ahead of Noob. He's almost level 6 now in the Quap. Will mean you might see a much earlier rotation from the Queen of Pain. And for Noob, this really does hurt, because level 5 is usually the time we see Primal Beast starting to move across the map. But as you can see, at this stage, just because of the XP disadvantage he has, he can't stay in the lane anymore.
Yeah, it's all down to that fortify play. You know, just hang around at camp, losing too much HP, TPing into your mid-tier 1, looking for more. You play that really greedily, and was punished nicely by Spirit. That sets some good tempo. Once this Quap hits 6, which Laurel is now, he can line up for a quick rotation. If he gets lucky with a power rune, something like a haste or invis, a good ambush could be set up here.
Could be. A couple rotations coming in from the side lanes to try and secure the power runes. Omar's going to move in as well, but Lyle looks to at least... No, he gets unlucky. It's going to be down bottom lane instead, but Mirror's already just secured it. I say unlucky, but he has great supports who are in position every time. Problem is, Collapse is going to get caught out. Bottom lane on the Mars. They know he's alone. Good presence of mind from Quest. Noob knows he's not going to get the power rune, so instead he makes the bottom rotation. Gets a core kill. The Team Spirit, they will trade Collapse for that power rune. We'll see what Lyle can make happen with the double damage.
Omar is still hanging around the area. Miposhka's hanging in the back. Might have been spotted by the ward, but doesn't seem like it.
Noob's coming back in. He's still only level 5, but he'll go for an onslaught right in for the Queen of Pain. Lyle, he'll get the Sonic Wave, but is it going to cost his life? Oh, it is. That's a big loss. Meanwhile, Carry does go down bottom lane along with Mirror. Miposhka, still being chased by Noob, probably has no way out. Pulverize will be there. Miposhka trying his best, but it's not going to be enough. Props to Noob. That's a big couple of pickoffs for the Primal Beast. And that was your double damage usage on our Quap that only led to a Rubico. It's not very good.
Not the ideal coming out here for Team Spirit. The fact that Laurel Sonic Wave doesn't clip the Primal Beast for a little bit of a pushback to get some spacing also just meant there was no real openings for Laurel to wait out for the blink. Just diving really far for the Rubik. Great pickoffs across the map for Noob, compensating for that early greedy play in the jungle, and finally securing themselves a pretty solid start coming out here on Quest. 5-3, 1k lead coming out for Quest. Not the biggest in the world, but they've gotten a lot of free room for Malik to manage the 1v1 lane up top. Tidehunter has the full Meteor Hammer, so even if you're not finding kill, you've got solo tower pressure just with this item build-up on Malik. And he's got the Ravage to threaten with as well, if a teamfight can break out. Meanwhile, in comparison, like, Collapse is not getting as much. Phase Boots up, Soul Ring not too far off. Arena's about to be up. That could be one launching point here for Team Spirit as they clump up.
We'll see if they do. But now they're going to take it easy, but the rotations are increasing. coming. Again, down to the bottom lane, sees Collapse. This would be a prime target to go. Is around the corner with Disruption to try and save. And he will do so. Yatoro even rotates. Gets the Rupture onto the Primal. Noob's still going to onslaught TP away. Might just make it in time as they've got no stun. They cannot stun him up. Noob will make it out. That's a what, a four hero rotation down to the bottom lane that amounts to nothing for Team Spirit.
Just dragging down Yatoro means they lose their top. Malik gets all the space he needs to play with that Meteor Hammer. They go for the arena onto Kaori.
Yeah, try, Kaori goes down, but TA2000 gonna move in onto the Mars, should have his way with him. Still run up quite a lot, is not gonna find the kill. Drops the Collapse, he plays on the edge, but he makes it.
Yeah, they finally get something with that arena that they've been waiting for. Mira.
Moving in. Just fine for now. Take it out.
Omar was looking for the cliff. A little bit too far out for that cliff up. But it's just buying space out. TA2000's rushing into the Ags. Already has the one Alacrity Blade of Alacrity up. And once the Ags is up, that illusion spam is going to be pretty overwhelming for the side of Team Spirit. It's going to make it harder to manage these team fights. The damage bouncing around is going to be significant. And you've got really good front line anyway to cover your bases here for the PL to play this back line. It's just going to stand back while both the Tide and the Primal Beast take point. And no one's answering Malik. Like, this Tide, sure, he's been AFK up top. He hasn't used Ravage, but he's getting a ton of space out, farming for himself. And just applying pressure. That tier 2 already taking some decent chip damage out with a Meteor Hammer here.
Certainly is. The Tide Meteor Hammer always going to feel really annoying to play against. Malik just doing a fantastic job of just remaining at this top lane and applying that pressure. Yatoro, I mean, he won't mind the creep wave constantly coming in because he's getting a lot of farm himself, but he kind of needs the farm right now. 3.9k net worth is not overly impressive on a Bloodseeker, to say the least. Chase onto Malik, goes for a Rupture. Malik's going to be fine to TP away. He literally just stands his ground. I'm not sure what the Rupture was about. Yatoro may be expecting a rotation, doesn't get one, but I suppose he's not going to want to fight anyway, so it's whatever. 60-second cooldown, he'll be fine.
And just wants a little bit more room to CS in the wave. Malik's been doing just too much with the level 4 Anchor Smash. And melee match for Tides feel good. No relief coming out here for Yatoro, as everyone else is just trying to get some stacks up. They do have decent stacks being built up by Mirror, although not the biggest amount we've seen from Shadow Demon, as they commit onto Malik now.
They do. I mean, this is where you may have wanted the Rupture, because Malik's going to turn around with the Ravage into the Meteor Hammer, going back in after Mirror. Giga Chat move from Malik. They're going to save with the Disruption into the Sonic Wave. They'll get Malik down. But in the mid lane, they've lost Maposhka. They're currently losing their mid-tier 1 tower. They'll need to get in and address that. Looks like it is going to be fine to be defended as Gary does lose his creep. And Malik, just no cares in the world, just pops the Ravage, says, come at me, bruh. And almost took one down with him, but not quite.
Takes so many heroes to come up top just to deal with that Tide solo pushing. It's a ton of space. You could argue the Team Spirit's getting the same space out for Collapse to get some recovery farm, for you to start trying to play that jungle, getting some stacks up on the triangle here. But you do worry about how much is given to TA2000 early. Again, this Ags isn't too far off now. Only 2 parts away. And all of Quest is just running around the map, causing havoc. It's starting to group up mid now with Malik showing up with that Meteor Hammer. Want that objective gone. With its Sonic Wave down for a little bit longer, a teamfight is not the comfiest, but they have Arena from Collapse if he can land it.
T1 mid tower though, still dropping. In come the TPs. Arena, oh, the speed. Bit off the mark on Malik. Malik tanking through the damage output. Is going to get ruptured up. Still just tanking through. It goes for a Meteor Hammer. Malik, his job is not done until that tier 1 tower goes. He actually got it off in time, but the glyph was forced to ensure that it took no damage. At least you do kill the Tide again, but it's costing you 5 heroes every time to make that happen. Now
just so
Lal. Oh, Lal. Overeyes is out. Can they get the onslaught to follow up? They won't need it. Omar had the spear. That is a perfect setup from Omar. Malik will hand over the tip, and that tier 1 mid tower, it may just be as good as dead now. Mira gonna try for a deny, actually gets it. Nevertheless, tier 1 mid tower going down, it's a pretty big loss for Team Spirit.
Yeah, it's huge. That means Triangle's more exposed to rotations. They scout out the stacks now. Noob can just go clear it out with a Blade Mail.
Dino Dance. There we go. He's Dino Dancing all over the Dire Triangle right now, John. We'll leave eventually. Collapse will say thank you very much for the assistance, sir. He'll take the farm for himself. In the end, they do not get the ancient stacks that were made. They only help Collapse take them. But to be fair, it looks like Lyle wanted them in the first place anyway. Collapse just taking it as an excuse to take all this farm for himself. So Lyle will jump in and take some at the last minute. It's all buying time for Yatoro to farm up. My only issue is Yatoro is still very far behind, and when you compare the matchup against the PO, it just doesn't seem like the best.
It's not the smoothest. It's certainly not that straightforward for the Bloodseeker here. You will be looking for really your Ags to kind of have that presence. He is just going for the BKB into the Mjolnir right after the Maelstrom. So wants some frontline protection, wants the static to kind of deal with the illusion spam. But it's not as simple as, say, the Radiance. To be fair, I don't think the Radiance would have allowed him to farm as much here for Yatoro. So the typical build-up does make sense. You do have some big item spikes coming out here for Spirit. The Blink is up for Collapse. It's going to be easier to nail multiple heroes in that arena. Going for the BKB next on Collapse after that Blink. But the space for Quest is massive. I mean, Noob is #1 in net worth on a Primal Beast. Going for the BKB now after that. I mean, he's been farming really efficiently. They've been using the space that Malik creates quite nicely. That is stalling out Malik's own timing, though.
It's the start that gets me, John. Like, the start of the laning stage was just so bad as Noob, right on the edge, hits the onslaught. Whew, that was close. Noob and Omar, the new tag team in Dota 2, apparently. These guys just making so much work happen across the map. And I think what really impresses me is how bad the lane went for Noob. The fact that he's top of the net worth, even though he's had that bad of a laning stage. At one stage, he was 2 levels behind the Quap. He was just farming jungle. And now he's top of the net worth board.
I don't think the lane actually went too bad outside of that move. When he started to pull that creep wave into the camp, that's where things went southbound. But before that, he was equal with the Quap. I think you expected a lot more coming out from Laurel, but he didn't want to go for the Shadow Strike build, expecting some early levels in Uproar. You know, you get the free ticks, you get a lot of damage when you trample, but Noob just stuck to his usual Onslaught trample build. You know, he didn't get a single point in Uproar until this point in the game.
Peeks around on Omar. Omar in a good position, though. Does break the smoke. In fact, he's fighting back. He's bought some time for his team to get over there. They'll get Omar down, and that'll be about it. Arena down? Never mind, it's not about it. Cowrie is going to get caught. The spear is there, locking him in the arena, but Cowrie's still perfectly healthy. Will continue fighting. He's now collapsed. He's the big victim. He's being chased down by TA2000 as Noob does get Maposhka. Now the Ravage comes in. Collapse will go down as a second. And Team Spirit, they just had no gameplay. You might see the Rubik go down getting caught like that as a bad play, but it was perfect. Like, he was in the right position to protect his PL. And then they just move in and take 2 kills anyway.
I'm really curious as to what went through Team Spirit's mindset there. Going for the solo arena onto Cowrie. It's not an easy target to burst down. She has enough HP to cop through the initial magic damage. If you're not committing your quap in that jump, you're just not going to get the burst. And that just leads to the opportunities for these drawn-out fights where you can start spamming those Spirit Lances on TA2000. I mean, this Ags rush does pay off and you take these fights a lot longer.
Yatoro, he's been scanned out, John. A Dire Triangle, he does have the help though. Collapses around to break the smoke and does do so. Onto Omar, seeing the Rubik. Will go in. Get some damage off. Yatoro around with Maposhka, thinking about going for a Rupture on Omar, doesn't do so yet. Noob is still sticking around, does go for the Pulverize eventually, but the Global Silence going to ensure he cannot continue. So now Mirror does move in. Noob, he's got the BKB TP, he's fine. Instead, Omar's the one to eventually get caught, and will go down. But that's a 5-hero rotation to get that Rubik kill. I suppose it is buying Yatoro's space though, to be fair.
That it is, and you force out the 9-second BKB of Noob very early on, not in the way he'd want to utilize that debuff immunity. So it's a nice win for Team Spirit. Not the biggest kill. If you are wasting some utility here on the side of Quest, you're stalling out to allow this Bloodseeker to at least have the BKB up and running, and force it a little bit of an issue for Quest and Control in that Noob is going to have to try to look for really good pulverized targets, and it's difficult when Global Silence is up. Still, Yatoro?
Yeah, getting caught out. Yatoro, he's the big one. Onslaught through into the Blood Right, but he's Dino Dancing. He couldn't care about the silence. Just dance, he says. Noob Noob now on a monster kill streak, 8-0-0 on the Primal Beast, Jonathan. Having a fantastic game as mid lane Collapse trying to chase Cowrie. Will not be able to catch him. Cowrie's fine. They are going to try and at least go after this tier 1 mid tower. Cowrie just pulling the creep wave away, not allowing it. That's just going to be so frustrating. Like, this Ench can just do whatever the hell he wants. And it's not worth committing for this kill. It's just too risky while the tier 1 mid tower's there.
Just so hard to burst. Again, you're not going to be looking to run her down with right clicks. You're going to need full commitment from your quap. Laurel wants bigger targets than that.
Lol. That was a little bit scary because Noob, had he had the pulverize, I think would have jumped in for that. Luckily for him, it was on cooldown.
Yeah, just a little bit frisky. Might be able to spot out Cowrie now. Still not enough.
They had a bit of vision on the high ground, but it doesn't seem to really matter. It's just an Ench, that's the thing. Like, they missed the God's Rebuke now. They'll land the Spear in the end at least. Collapse gonna get him in the end. Noob moves in, pulverizes out. Yatoro the big target, but the silence was there. Malik, he's got the Ravage, but no blink. Collapse, he's gonna jump in for a 3-man arena, but there's your Ravage zoning everyone out. It hits 4 people, but they still haven't got a kill. Collapse is fine for now. Team Spirit, they're going to try and move in and help out. Lyle forced the blink away. Yatoro, he'll continue moving forward with the BKB, but he's dropping really low on HP. He needs to get out of there. He's too damn low. He's gone. The creeps take him out. Mirror down to boot. Meanwhile, Noob, going after another, is going to find the silencer. The Invis rune will not save his life.
Sick.
Oh,
Quest.
Yatoro died to the creep wave at the end. That's just so sad.
Nothing lines up for Team Spirit. Quest, the response is just too strong. The arena looks good. The instant lift back from Omar, cutting off the combination with the spear. The fact that you got the Ravage Meteor Hammer off to cut off Collapse a little bit longer, forcing a rush up the ramp to try and save. Get some positioning there. You had a good flank coming in here from Laurel. That Sonic Wave from the high ground. If they managed to connect more spells, might have been able to find themselves those kills. But again, Quest, their response, the way they execute as a team it's way too on point. Like, the individual plays they're doing together is just massive. Omar's been shining. Man, just that little lift back right before the spear can connect made it so awkward for Collapse to find any follow-through control. And that meant the Global Silence was just forced out in a position you probably didn't want to. You want to be a little bit more disruptive with it. And they just don't manage to nail their kills. 7k lead for Quest coming out. Still no deaths coming out here for Noob. Still the freest farm game we've seen for TA2000. He's going to have the Manta up. But at that point, the PL's not going to care for Global Silence or any of your control. Outside of perhaps a Rupture if you can land it on the real PL. That's easier said than done.
Big smoke out. 4-man smoke running right towards the bottom lane. Malik knows they're there. He just scouted out Yatoro and Maposhka. So they know the whole team's around. This could be a huge team fight for Quest. They make the jump in. They've already found the Quap. Lyle's in huge trouble. Spear does land, but Mira is there to save with the disruption. Still TA2000 already making the gap happen. Onto Mira. He's going to be fine to TP away, but Lyle's the big problem. Lyle gets cut off by TA2000 and just gets taken down. Omar to take the kill. It's just... You lost your mid-quap again. Like, this is just not a great feeling.
Certainly not. Yatoro is forced to defensively use his Rupture just to cut off Malik from finding anything else. And that's just Roche open for the side of Quest. They run in, they know without the Quap taking this fight is very difficult. Collapse is not in position to try and head down there as well. Not the quickest rush in the world, but they've got the time here. On the side of Quest, Team Spirit not clumping around, and Noob's just making his presence known elsewhere. You might think that rush isn't even happening right now. No vision here in Team Spirit. And Quest, and it's been such a smooth game for them. Sure, you were sacrificing Malik, but it's a sacrifice well worthwhile. They knew what he was doing on the Tide. They maximized that space, and the investment is starting to come through. All the cores. Quest on top in net worth. And the catch-up for Laurel. It's still going to take more time for this Bloodseeker to start to dish some damage. Like, once the Ags is up, you start to feel better with the Ags Mjolnir, but even then, it's so difficult to pin this all onto that one Bloodseeker trying to run around here.
Maybe they can find Noob top lane. Like, he's alone right now. Problem is, he still holds the tier 1 tower. Like, this is how Quest are winning this game quite easily. Like, this top and tier 1 mid tower that they've still got just held. This means that you can't force in the creep waves by Team Spirit, and they're just not able to take map control. It's just so annoying. Like, you see Noob alone at the top lane with a 902 streak, but you can't jump him because they could get to that T1 tower at any moment.
They've still got the map control on Quest Team Spirit. And their lineup...
Wow, he's going to blink to the south. Instead of going north, he goes south. I don't know about this one, Lal. He's going to blink again. The chase is on, and it looks like it's going to be enough. They didn't have the follow-up stun. Lal, for now, is fine. However, Omar, of all people, is chasing him down. It looks like he's going to give up. They'll go after the tier 2 bottom tower instead. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Mirror will just go down to Noob, who picks up his 10th kill of the game now on the Primal Beast. And even finds a nice arcane rune for himself. Why the hell not? Oh, they split out
Everything's slain.
He's underneath vision. They know he's there. Tier 3 towers being forced into the meantime. Are they going to try and cancel Lal's TP so he can't defend? Oh, they may, but the ward wears off in time. If that ward lasted 5 more seconds, that would have been a disaster for Team Spirit.
Still not enough to stop TA2000 though. Again, the illusion spam with the early Ags. With the Deso up, with the Aegis up. TA2000 is more than confident to just take this by himself.
That he is. Tier 3 tower gone for free. Spirit, I mean, Collapse is already out of mana. Look at the HP. It's already so damn low. He can't do nothing. They'll go for the bottom racks for free right now. Nobody's contesting them. It's very hard to imagine a real contest here between Spirit and Quest with the way this game's gone. Like, how do you take this PL out twice is the real question. They're going to jump in. There's your lift up from Omar. Right into the silencer. Maposhka is down, but he does have buyback. And coming for the global silence again if he needs. Range Rax is gone. Best back in onto the melee barracks now. Nothing to stop them. The freeze racks of their life thus far as TA2000 just continues. They are trying to just deal with the illusions at the moment. TA, he can go for a bit of a reset if he wants, if he doesn't want to sacrifice the Aegis. Looks like he will try and do so for a little bit. But they are going back for the melee barracks. They are not giving up. No need to. It's gone now.
You see Yatoro.
Uh-oh, Yatoro, he gets pulverized up. Global Silence will save his life for now. TA2000 trying to close the gap. Yatoro is going to be okay, but Noob, he's blinked forward, trying to find the Bloodseeker, but will miss out. Yatoro, he cannot afford to die right now, John. He's about 700 gold away from having buyback available, but Collapse has jumped in early. Malik, he's got the Ravage, but he may not have the chance to pop it off. There you go, Spirit, they've got one down, but now Lal's in danger. Blinking in very aggressively. He'll get lifted up. He has another blink available, but the charge is in TA2000. He wants to keep going for more. Now the Pulverize. They found Collapse with that, but it will be cancelled off immediately. As Team Spirit somehow get everyone else out of there. Quest, I mean, had you had the Ravage for that fight, you would have been laughing, but they do not have it. Malik going down allows Team Spirit the high ground defense. The game will continue.
They're hanging on Team Spirit. They've done a great job of just cutting off, making this really difficult for you to look for big pulverizes, holding on to that Global Silence, holding on to the Blood Right, just to stop that one-man control here.
Pulverize on a Mirror. They want the Shadow Demon dead. Mirror gonna survive. He will back off. Collapse, though, in big danger. Already half his HP gone. They'll just jump right in with the onslaught. Collapse still trying to run, but the Lancers will follow him down. He does have buyback. They will not commit it, obviously. They've got the backdoor protection for now. Some decent high ground defense as well with the Aghanim Scepter of Lal. It's constantly forcing this creep wave back, but now the lift back up on Lal. Not gonna matter because there's no to it. Malik, oh, that's a big Ravage. He found 3 targets with that. Lal, he'll be able to blink out in time, but Mirror will not be so lucky. At least you get the Quap out. That status resist from the Kaya Sand was more than enough, as now Yatoro goes for a Rupture. Who was it even on? The A2000 it was. So he stops the PO from charging in. It's not too big of a deal yet, as now the onslaught into the Pulverize from Nerve, and Lal's been silenced up. Oh boy. The Blood Rite stolen from Omar, not allowing Lal to get out of there. He's got no BKB available, so he couldn't purge it off.
This is getting oppressive. Let's keep it, you. We'll try.
They're going to jump in. Collapse is going to try one last time with the arena down into the Blood Rite, but nobody's dying yet. Nobody's taking too much damage. Yatoro, at least maybe he finds Kaori. Kaori trying for the Force Knife will not make it out. In comes Noob, though, with the Onslaught. He did not connect. The Spirit, they might be able to keep this up. A spear back into the tier 4 towers. Noob, he is yet to die this game. Maybe this will be the first one, but it doesn't seem like it. He's still just tanking through all the damage. How can they kill this guy? He's got his BKB. He'll just TP away. Collapse. Still trying for some spearbacks, but can't find him.
You have to appreciate how hard Team Spirit's making this high ground. They have managed to hold on to their mid-racks, only losing the tier 3. It does cost them a buyback, but it's not the biggest deal in the world. They're holding on. They have some scale potential. The big thing that's been enabling Team Spirit in these engagements is, honestly, it's been Disseminate from Mera. If you can land that Disseminate on the PL, the damage back with all the AoE you have is massive. It's just spotting real PL is easier said than done. Like when you were holding bot, you lost half your HP here for TA 2000 on that Disseminate, if he doesn't manage to dispel it off. So you have some tools on hand with all the AoE you have on Team Spirit, but the execution's getting a lot tougher. Now Quest are losing 1 or 2 heroes, but they're still more than confident to force an issue on the 4v5, try to see how far they can really push themselves here. They're about to hit the refresh on Noob. Just having that pulverize, double BKB usage in the middle of these fights, it's going to be massive for Noob to just get that single target control they'd want on something slippery like the Quap or the Bloodseeker, and just clean up from there. And Team Spirit, I mean, they're hanging on, but they can't really make moves across the map. And it's still trying to catch up, trying to build up for Yatoro. He's almost got the axe at the very least here on the Bloodseeker. He'll have the barrier up. He'll have more AoE damage to tie into that Disseminate.
Big smoke out. Quest moving his 3 down to the bottom lane. They're going to see Lal. The telekinesis, it's going to hold him down perfectly, but Lal still blinks away. Noob trying to rush towards him with the onslaught, but no, it's cancelled. It's cancelled off. Instead, they'll go after Kaori down to the bottom lane. Kaori does drop. Spirit, they'll get away with something, and they will lose nothing for their trouble. In fact, that's enough gold now that you have the Ags up on your tour.
And this is massive. Just having that barrier to help Yatoro in the middle, having some way of healing back and holding on up front, having more AoE damage to play with, a good Disseminate coming out here, it's going to be huge. You just need to be able to get that Disseminate off in the right target, get some good damage onto the illusions, onto literally any enemies around you. And that reflect back is huge. It's a lot of pressure on Mira to try to get these saves and these offensive uses of Disseminate, but they've got the tools on hand, Spirit.
Big smoke out. They want to try and abuse the Blood Mist. Keep in mind, there is a Heart of Tarask on this PO now. But the Blood Mist may not care for that. It is HB based damage. Look at this though. On the high ground, the Twin Gates, they are just casually waiting for Malik to initiate. A nice bait coming in from Kaori, and now the Ravage landing on 3 targets. Yatoro, he gets the BKB. He's going to try and fight through it, but it's not looking good for him. He'll heal up once. Can he keep healing through it? The Pulverize, it's too much. Yatoro is gone. Collapse is gone to boot. Lal forced to just blink out of there, but it's not going to be enough. Omar's got him. TA 2000 on a triple kill. What a perfect bait by Kaori. You love to see it. Zmira will drop to boot. 4 heroes down. Roshan completely open from Quest. That's teamwork right there. Kaori had the trust in his team, John, and he did not even die through this.
Oh, just too durable. On an inch, too mobile. And the initiation angles for Spirit, again, it's challenging. It's not the easiest thing to try to pull off to get the control on so many key heroes, so many Dispels on hand, but how durable you have on the Tide and the Primal Beast, and even TA2000 with a heart. None of these frontliners are that easy to burst down. None of the backlines easy to reach into.
Mid lane, Noob's just going in by himself. He found the final piece of the puzzle, and that's Maposhka. That's a full team wipe. Malik will hand the tip over to Noob. Roshan does go the way of the Radiant Quest as TA2000. Will pick up the Aegis and Cheese for himself. Was having a couple issues there with all the illusions. Eventually gets it though.
Nah, he had to drop an item. He gave Cowrie his Helm of Fire. Front slot's not being used. It's all fine.
Another heart too. Look at this, John. Noob. 4.7k HP
That
pulled
is
down
so
the primal.
painful.
Wonka.
It's like it's so much damage. Imagine if we reached the 60-minute mark. Primal Beast with Giant's Ring is fun. Not gonna happen. Doesn't look like this game, but if it did, Mike, it is fun.
The curse, Jonathan. There we go. Midrax now under siege. TA2000 gonna get started. The PL's the least of your worries right now. Like, the Primal Beast is the much bigger target. He's 12-0-9. He's had so much impact this game. Like, who do you even aim? So that's the point. Like, you aim Noob, but Malik jumps in with a Ravage. TA2000 backs him up. It just feels like Noob has to die. As Lal, speaking of dying, getting very low, will be okay, but TA2000 just casually jumping in, almost deleting Mirror. With the illusions themselves, taking out half his HP. Team Spirit, trying to deal with just the illusions of the PL. Yatoro building up the shield he's got with the Blood Mist. If they get a nice spear off, maybe they can deal with him this time. TA2000 dropping low, but in comes the cavalry, eventually moving in as Mirror has already gone down. TA2000 still not dying, resetting now, moving back on a collapse. He's got one down. At least they do find the Aegis, but the Ravage is out from Malik, blocking down 3 of them as collapse in the middle of nowhere. Mirror, Yatoro, he's been left behind. You get collapse out, but Yatoro gets taken down. No buyback available. And Lal is still being chased.
Oh my god.
From a mile away. Cowrie takes him out. He bought back and lost half his HP. The impetus was still flying towards him. Goodness me.
And at least they got that kill on Noob.
I guess so. Happy days. On a collapse they go. Collapse. Will drop, it seems. He cannot get away from the nullifier. Meanwhile, TA2000. Oh, never mind, they call it GG. West Esports, a dominant game number 1 for them as Team Spirit. I mean, they tried their absolute best here, John, but I'll tell you, it just wasn't really a contest for Quest.